Welcome to Divine Bible Stories. As you close your eyes and prepare to drift into peaceful slumber, let us guide you through the timeless tales of the Bible. Join us on a journey of faith, wisdom, and tranquility. Each night, we'll delve into a different story, inviting you to immerse yourself in the ancient narratives that have inspired hearts for generations. Relax, let go, and allow the soothing words to lead you into a restful sleep. If you find solace and inspiration in our content, we kindly ask you to show your support by liking and subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll stay connected with us on this sacred journey. Thank you for choosing Divine Bible Stories as your companion for bedtime storytelling. May these stories guide you to peaceful dreams and a refreshed spirit. Now let the whispers of the past carry you into a serene slumber. In the shadow of the towering mountain, the Israelites grew restless. Moses, their leader, had been atop the mount for an extended time, receiving instructions from the Lord. Impatience gnawed at their hearts, and doubt whispered in their ears. The promise of freedom from Egypt's grasp seemed to fade as Moses remained out of sight. Gathered around Aaron, their unease crystallized into a demand. "Come," they implored. "Make us gods who will lead us. What has become of Moses?" Their words carried desperation, a plea for a visible guide in the absence of their chosen leader. Aaron, unsure of how to navigate this turbulent moment, sought a solution. "Bring me your gold earrings," he instructed, "and I shall craft an idol for you." The people, their hearts swayed by uncertainty, complied. With hammer and chisel, Aaron fashioned a calf-shaped idol, an emblem of strength and security. "This is your God, O Israel," they proclaimed, a mixture of devotion and desperation in their voices. The very people who had witnessed miracles in the land of Egypt, who had seen the Red Sea part and the manna fall from heaven, now bowed before a golden creation, seeking solace in its gleam. As Aaron gazed upon the spectacle, he felt a mixture of trepidation and submission. He constructed an altar before the calf, announcing a festival to the Lord. The air was soon filled with the aroma of sacrifices as burnt offerings and fellowship offerings were presented. The camp echoed with laughter, music, and revelry. Yet amidst the celebration, a voice thundered from the heavens. It was the voice of the Lord, and it reached Moses on the mountaintop. "Go down," the Lord instructed, "for your people have become corrupt." The heart of the Almighty ached at the sight of his chosen people bowing before an idol, forsaking their covenant. Frustration seethed within Moses as he descended. The tablets in his hands, inscribed with the covenant law, were a stark reminder of the solemn promise made between God and Israel. But the festivities below betrayed their commitment. As Moses approached the camp, he witnessed a sight that ignited his anger. The calf stood, an object of devotion, and the people danced in its shadow. With fury and resolve, Moses shattered the tablets at the foot of the mountain, breaking the covenant that had been so brazenly defied. The idol, a false god of their own making, met its fiery end, consumed by flames. Moses ground its remnants to powder, scattering them upon the water, symbolizing the fleeting nature of earthly idols. The Israelites were made to drink the mixture, a bitter reminder of their transgression. Turning to Aaron, Moses demanded an explanation. "What have these people done to you?" he asked, his voice laced with incredulity. Aaron, facing Moses' just wrath, sought to shift the blame, recounting how the people had eagerly contributed gold, and the calf had seemingly emerged from the flames on its own. Moses' anger smoldered, his gaze sweeping over the chaotic scene. He called out, "Whoever is for the Lord, come to me." The Levites, devoted to their faith, rallied to his side. A somber command followed. "Each man, strap a sword to his side. Go through the camp, killing your brother, friend, and neighbor." The Levites obeyed, and the camp was filled with sorrowful cries as divine justice was served. The aftermath was a testament to the cost of idolatry, a stark reminder of the consequences of forsaking the one who had led them out of Egypt's darkness. The Lord's anger was quelled, yet a plague descended upon the people as a final reminder of the gravity of their actions. Moses, ever the intercessor, climbed the mountain once more. "Forgive their sin," he implored, "or blot me from your book." The Lord's response was a declaration of justice tempered by mercy, a promise of punishment, yet an assurance of his presence. The story of the golden calf stands as a cautionary tale, a vivid reminder of the human tendency to stray from the path of righteousness. It echoes across time, urging us to examine our hearts and the idols that may have taken residence within. Amidst the reverberations of the divine judgment, a conversation of profound intimacy unfolded between Moses and the Lord. The Lord, who had once been ready to destroy the people due to their stiff-necked rebellion, now instructed Moses to lead them to the land he had promised to their forefathers. An angel would guide them, and the lands of the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites would be cleared before them. A land of abundance, flowing with milk and honey, awaited them. However, a shadow loomed over the promise. The Lord revealed that he would not journey alongside them, for their obstinate hearts could provoke his wrath. The Lord, in his righteous anger, could unleash destruction upon the people if he were to accompany them. At these words, a heavy sorrow descended upon the Israelites. Their ornaments were shed, a symbol of their repentance and the gravity of their recent transgressions. In the midst of the camp, outside its borders, stood the tent of meeting, a place where the divine and human could commune. Moses would enter this tent, a sacred space where the Lord would manifest his presence in the form of a pillar of cloud. When the people saw the pillar descend, they would stand in awe, worshiping from their tent entrances. As Moses conversed with the Lord in this sacred space, he did so face to face, a friend speaking with a friend. Joshua, his loyal aide, remained near, lingering in the presence of the Lord. This exchange was not mere dialogue. It was an encounter with the divine, a connection that would leave a lasting mark on Moses and his relationship with the Almighty. Yet, in the midst of this closeness, Moses carried a question that weighed on his heart. He had been entrusted with the monumental task of leading the people, but he sought reassurance, a confirmation that the Lord's favor would continue to guide their journey. He implored the Lord to teach him his ways, to let him know the Lord's heart intimately. The Lord, responding with compassion, assured Moses that his presence would accompany them, granting them rest. Yet Moses was unrelenting, his heart seeking assurance beyond words. He declared, "If your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here." Moses understood that it was the presence of the Lord that set them apart. His plea echoed the depth of his relationship with the divine, a yearning for the assurance that they were a people marked by God's favor. The Lord, acknowledging Moses' heart, granted his request. He revealed his glory to Moses in a way that no mortal had witnessed before. As Moses stood sheltered in a cleft of a rock, the Lord's presence passed by, veiled by his hand. The profound experience unfolded, and Moses was allowed to glimpse the back of the Lord, a glimpse that left an indelible mark on his soul. Moses' encounter with the Lord was a testament to the deep connection between humanity and the divine, a reminder that despite our human limitations, we can seek and experience communion with the Almighty. It was a reminder that the presence of the Lord is what distinguishes his people from all others, a presence that grants rest and assurance even in the midst of life's uncertainties. Moses, humbled by the Lord's mercy and willingness to renew the covenant, obeyed the divine command. He chiseled 2 stone tablets, mirroring the ones he had previously shattered in his anger. With the dawn's first light, he ascended Mount Sinai, carrying the stone tablets in his hands, prepared for another divine encounter. The Lord descended once again in a cloud and stood beside Moses, proclaiming his name. the Lord. As the Lord passed before him, he declared his nature and character. He was compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. The Lord was a God of forgiveness, showing mercy to thousands, yet not sparing the guilty from punishment, extending consequences to the third and fourth generations. Overwhelmed by the revelation of God's character, Moses bowed low, worshiping the Lord. In a heartfelt plea, he entreated the Lord's presence to accompany them, acknowledging the people's stubbornness, but seeking God's forgiveness and favor. The Lord, moved by Moses' intercession, responded by reaffirming his covenant. The Lord promised to perform wonders never seen before in the world among the people, ensuring that their neighbors would witness his extraordinary deeds. He instructed them to drive out the inhabitants of the land they were to inherit, to reject any treaties, and to destroy the altars and symbols of foreign gods. The Lord laid out a code of conduct for his people, emphasizing their unique relationship with him. He reminded them of his jealousy and demanded their exclusive devotion. Laws concerning festivals, sacrifices, the Sabbath, and the redemption of the firstborn were revealed, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging the Lord's ownership of all things. Moses, entrusted with the divine words, spent 40 days and nights in the presence of the Lord, consuming neither bread nor water. On the tablets, he inscribed the 10 Commandments and the statutes the Lord had spoken, sealing the covenant with the written word. When Moses descended from the mountain, the brilliance of his face shone radiantly, reflecting his intimate encounter with the Almighty. Aaron and the Israelites were awed by this divine illumination, and Moses conveyed the Lord's commands to them. After speaking, Moses veiled his face, symbolizing the temporary nature of this divine radiance. But when he entered the Lord's presence, Moses unveiled his face, once again engaging in intimate conversation with the divine. The radiant glow faded upon his departure from the divine presence, concealed by the veil until the next encounter. Moses' radiant face bore witness to his unique relationship with God, a relationship marked by profound communication and divine revelation. Gathered before the assembly of Israel, Moses conveyed the Lord's commands. The people were to observe the Sabbath day as a holy rest to the Lord. On this day, work was prohibited, and anyone found working would face severe consequences. Additionally, lighting fires in their dwellings on the Sabbath was strictly forbidden. With fervor and unity, the Israelites responded to the Lord's instructions. Moses directed them to contribute offerings for the construction of the tabernacle, a dwelling place for the Lord. The people willingly brought offerings of gold, silver, bronze, and a variety of materials such as yarn, fine linen, goat hair, and precious stones. Skilled artisans among them were called upon to craft the various components of the tabernacle, its covering, furnishings, and utensils. This collective effort was a testament to the people's dedication to creating a place of worship and reverence for the Lord. The community displayed remarkable unity in their contributions. Men and women alike brought their offerings, contributing items such as gold jewelry, yarn, fabric, and more. Skilled women spun yarn and crafted fine materials, while skilled men worked with precious stones, metals, and wood. Leaders brought their offerings of gems, spices, olive oil, and other materials needed for the construction and rituals. Moses then announced that the Lord had chosen 2 individuals, Bezalel and Oholiab, to lead the creative work. Bezalel, a member of the tribe of Judah, was filled with the Spirit of God and possessed wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and diverse skills. He was specifically appointed to work in gold, silver, and bronze, as well as to design intricate artistic patterns and cut and set stones. Oholiab, from the tribe of Dan, was equally endowed with creative talents and the ability to teach others. These gifted individuals were instrumental in teaching and guiding the other skilled workers in the community. Their talents extended to engraving, design, embroidery, weaving, and other artisanal tasks, ensuring the construction of the tabernacle and its components was executed with the utmost precision and beauty. The story of the construction of the tabernacle showcases the collaborative effort of the Israelites, united in their devotion to the Lord's commands. Through their skilled craftsmanship and dedication, they created a sacred space where they could worship and connect with the divine presence. This narrative highlights the importance of community, shared purpose, and the value of individual skills in the service of a higher calling. Continuing the narrative of the construction of the tabernacle, Moses summoned Bezalel, Oholiab, and all the skilled workers whom the Lord had endowed with abilities. These skilled artisans were responsible for executing the intricate work of constructing the sanctuary as the Lord had commanded. The contributions from the Israelites flowed in as free will offerings, with people willingly giving materials for the project. They were so generous that the skilled workers approached Moses, stating that the amount of materials exceeded what was needed. Moses, in turn, issued an order throughout the camp that no further contributions were required, as the people had already given more than enough. The construction of the tabernacle began in earnest. Skilled artisans wove 10 curtains from finely twisted linen, incorporating threads of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. These curtains, each measuring 28 cubits long and 4 cubits wide, were adorned with intricate designs of cherubim. The curtains were joined together using loops and clasps made of gold, forming the main structure of the tabernacle. A tent was crafted to cover the tabernacle, consisting of 11 curtains made from goat hair. Each of these curtains was 30 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. They were fastened together using loops and bronze clasps. A protective covering of ram skins dyed red and a layer of durable leather were added to shield the tent from the elements. The framework of the tabernacle was constructed using acacia wood. Upright frames, each measuring 10 cubits in length and 1.5 cubits in width, were created. These frames were connected by crossbars with additional support for the corners and sides of the tabernacle. The frames were overlaid with gold, adding an element of splendor to the structure. A curtain woven from blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, as well as finely twisted linen, was made to divide the tabernacle's interior. This curtain featured the same intricate design of cherubim. 4 posts of acacia wood, overlaid with gold, supported the curtain. The entrance to the tent was also adorned with a curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, as well as finely twisted linen. Skilled embroidery enhanced this curtain's beauty. 5 posts, topped with gold, supported the entrance curtain. As the skilled artisans meticulously constructed the tabernacle's components, they worked with a sense of purpose and devotion. Their craftsmanship mirrored the Lord's intricate instructions, resulting in a sacred and magnificent dwelling place for God among His people. The combined efforts of the skilled workers and the willing contributors showcase the community's commitment to creating a space of worship and reverence according to the Lord's specifications. Continuing with the construction of the sacred items for the tabernacle, the Ark. Bezalel skillfully crafted the Ark using acacia wood. This sacred container measured 2.5 cubits in length, 1.5 cubits in width, and 1.5 cubits in height. He overlaid the entire Ark with pure gold, both inside and outside, and added a gold molding around it. 4 gold rings were cast and attached to the Ark's 4 feet, 2 rings on one side and 2 on the other. Poles made from acacia wood were overlaid with gold and inserted into the rings to allow for the Ark's transportation. The atonement cover, also known as the mercy seat, was constructed using pure gold. It measured 2.5 cubits in length and 1.5 cubits in width. 2 cherubim were intricately crafted out of hammered gold and placed on the ends of the cover. 1 cherub was positioned on each end, with their wings spread upward to overshadow the cover. These cherubim faced each other, looking toward the cover. The table. The table was made from acacia wood and measured 2 cubits in length, 1 cubit in width, and 1.5 cubits in height. It was overlaid with pure gold, including a gold molding around its edges. A rim about a handbreadth wide was added, and a gold molding adorned the rim. 4 gold rings were cast and fastened to the table's corners, close to the rim, to hold the carrying poles. The poles were also made of acacia wood and overlaid with gold. Various articles for the table, such as plates, dishes, bowls, and pitchers for drink offerings, were crafted from pure gold. The lampstand, made entirely of pure gold, featured a hammered base and shaft. Flower-like cups, buds, and blossoms were seamlessly formed as one piece with the lampstand. 6 branches extended from its sides, 3 on each side, adorned with cups shaped like almond flowers, along with buds and blossoms. On the lampstand itself, there were 4 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms. The branches and buds were all part of one piece, hammered out of pure gold. 7 lamps, along with wick trimmers and trays, were fashioned from pure gold and placed on the lampstand. The altar of incense. The altar of incense was built from acacia wood and was a square cubit in length and width and 2 cubits in height. Its horns were a single piece with the altar. The top, sides, and horns were overlaid with pure gold, and a gold molding adorned the altar's edges. 2 gold rings were added on opposite sides below the molding, and acacia wood poles overlaid with gold were inserted through these rings for carrying. In addition to these holy items, the skilled workers also prepared the sacred anointing oil and the fragrant incense, both created by a skilled perfumer. Each of these meticulously crafted components played a significant role in the religious rituals and worship within the tabernacle, reflecting the intricate care and attention to detail that the Israelites devoted to creating a place of divine presence and reverence. The altar of burnt offering. The altar of burnt offering was constructed from acacia wood and measured 3 cubits in height. It was 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide, forming a square shape. At each of the 4 corners, a horn was fashioned, creating a unified piece with the altar. The entire altar was overlaid with bronze. Bronze utensils were crafted for the altar, including pots, shovels, sprinkling bowls, meat forks, and fire pans. A bronze grating, like a network, was made to rest halfway up the altar. Bronze rings were cast to hold the poles for the 4 corners of the bronze grating. These poles, made from acacia wood, were overlaid with bronze and inserted into the rings. The altar was constructed to be hollow, using boards. The basin for washing. The bronze basin and its stand were created from the mirrors of the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. This basin served as a place for the priests to wash their hands and feet before entering the tabernacle. The courtyard. The courtyard surrounding the tabernacle was constructed with finely twisted linen curtains. The south side of the courtyard was 100 cubits long and had 20 posts and 20 bronze bases. The north side also measured 100 cubits in length and featured 20 posts and 20 bronze bases. The west end was 50 cubits wide and included 10 posts and 10 bases. The east end, facing the sunrise, was also 50 cubits wide. The entrance to the courtyard was adorned with a curtain made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, along with finely twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. The curtain was 20 cubits long and 5 cubits high. The courtyard's posts were adorned with silver hooks and bands, and their tops were overlaid with silver. The curtain for the entrance was also made of similar materials. The materials used. The amounts of materials used for the construction of the tabernacle were meticulously recorded. The gold from the wave offering amounted to 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel. The silver obtained from the community census amounted to 100 talents and 1,775 shekels. This silver was used for various purposes, including casting the bases and creating hooks and bands. Additionally, 70 talents and 2,400 shekels of bronze from the wave offering were used to construct the bases, the altar, and various utensils. Bezalel, along with Oholiab, skillfully executed all the craftsmanship according to the instructions given by Moses. The materials used were accounted for with precision, highlighting the devotion and commitment of the Israelites to create a sacred space where they could commune with the divine presence. The priestly garments. The skilled artisans wove garments from blue, purple, and scarlet yarn for the purpose of ministering in the sanctuary. They also meticulously crafted sacred garments for Aaron, following the precise instructions given by the Lord to Moses. The ephod. The ephod, a significant piece of the high priest's attire, was skillfully made from gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen. The artisans fashioned thin sheets of gold and intertwined them with the yarn and linen. The ephod was equipped with shoulder pieces attached to two corners, allowing it to be securely fastened. A skillfully woven waistband made with gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, along with finely twisted linen, completed the ephod just as commanded. Onyx stones were set in gold filigree settings and engraved with the names of the 12 sons of Israel. These stones were then affixed to the shoulder pieces of the ephod as memorial stones in accordance with the Lord's instructions. The breastpiece. The breastpiece, mirroring the ephod's design, was crafted with the same materials: gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen. This square piece was a span in both length and width and was folded double. 4 rows of precious stones were mounted on the breastpiece, each row holding 3 stones. These 12 stones were engraved with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. The breastpiece was adorned with braided chains of pure gold, connecting to gold filigree settings and rings. The rings were then attached to the corners of the breastpiece and linked to the shoulder pieces of the ephod, just as the Lord had commanded. Other priestly garments. Various other garments were also fashioned for the priests. A robe of blue cloth was created with an opening in the center and adorned with pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, along with golden bells. Tunics of fine linen, a turban of fine linen, linen caps, and finely twisted linen undergarments were made for Aaron and his sons. A sash of finely twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn was intricately embroidered, completing their priestly attire. A pure gold plate was engraved with the words, "Holy to the Lord," and was attached to the turban by a blue cord. Moses inspects the tabernacle. Upon the completion of all the work on the tabernacle, the Israelites brought it to Moses. Every detail, from the tent and its furnishings to the various utensils, was precisely as the Lord had commanded. Moses inspected the completed work and verified that it adhered to the Lord's instructions. Pleased with the meticulous craftsmanship and devotion of the Israelites, Moses blessed them for their dedication in creating the tabernacle, a sacred space where the divine presence would dwell among them. Setting up the tabernacle and God's glory. Upon completing the construction of the tabernacle and all its furnishings, the Lord instructed Moses to set it up on the first day of the first month. Moses diligently followed the Lord's commands and arranged each component in its designated place. The ark and its contents. The Ark of the Covenant Law was placed within the tabernacle, and the ark was shielded with a curtain. The table was set with its contents, and the lampstand's lamps were lit. Altar of Incense. The golden altar of incense was positioned before the Ark of the Covenant, and the entrance to the tabernacle was covered with a curtain. Altar of burnt offering and basin. The bronze altar of burnt offering was placed in front of the tabernacle entrance, and the basin filled with water was positioned between the altar and the tent of meeting. Anointing and consecration. The tabernacle and all its furnishings were anointed with the sacred oil, consecrating them as holy. The same process was applied to the altar of burnt offering, its utensils, and the basin. Priests' anointing and consecration. Aaron and his sons were brought to the entrance of the tent of meeting and washed with water. Aaron was then dressed in his sacred garments, anointed, and consecrated to serve as a priest. Similarly, Aaron's sons were dressed in tunics, anointed and consecrated for their priestly service, establishing a priesthood to be passed down through generations. Completion and God's glory. Following the meticulous arrangement of the tabernacle and the consecration of the priests, Moses fulfilled every detail of the Lord's instructions. On the first day of the first month in the second year since leaving Egypt, the tabernacle was finally set up. As the cloud, which symbolized the presence of the Lord, covered the tent of meeting, the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. The cloud's presence was so powerful that Moses himself was unable to enter the tent. This radiant glory served as a sign of the divine presence dwelling among the Israelites. Throughout their journey, whenever the cloud lifted from the tabernacle, the Israelites knew it was time to set out on their travels. When the cloud remained, they stayed put. By day, the cloud of the Lord covered the tabernacle, and by night, fire was within the cloud, offering a guiding light for the Israelites throughout their journeys. This continuous presence of the cloud and fire was a testament to God's guidance and protection as the Israelites embarked on their journey through the wilderness. As the Israelites gathered around the newly set up tabernacle, the Lord's voice echoed within the sacred space. Moses, standing in awe, listened closely to the instructions that resonated from the heart of the tent of meeting. "Speak to the Israelites," the Lord's voice commanded Moses, "and tell them about the offerings they are to bring to me." And so Moses turned to the people and began to relay the divine instructions. "When anyone among you brings an offering to the Lord," he declared, "choose an animal from your herd or flock, but remember, it must be without any defects, a pure and wholehearted offering. For those offering a burnt offering from the herd," Moses continued, "presented at the entrance of the tent of meeting, there lay your hand upon the animal's head as a symbol of your offering. It is through this act that the offering will be accepted on your behalf, making atonement for you." As Moses spoke, the people's attention was fixated on the instructions. They could almost feel the solemnity of the moment, the gravity of offering their best to the Almighty. "Now," Moses continued, "slaughter the young bull before the Lord. Aaron's sons, the priests, will then take the blood and sprinkle it against the sides of the altar at the entrance to the tent of meeting." As Moses explained the process, the image of the blood being splashed on the altar's sides brought forth a deep realization of the offering's significance, a symbol of consecration and atonement. "And as you skin the burnt offering," Moses instructed, "cut it into pieces. Arrange wood and fire on the altar, and Aaron's sons will carefully arrange the pieces, head and fat, upon the burning wood." Listening intently, the people visualized the careful arrangement of the offering, each detail of the ritual creating a tapestry of devotion in their minds. "Wash the internal organs and legs with water," Moses continued, "and then let the priest burn all of it on the altar. This burnt offering is not only a symbolic act, it is a food offering, an aroma that pleases the Lord." Moses then went on to describe the process for burnt offerings from the flock, emphasizing the same meticulous care and reverence. And when he spoke of the offerings of birds, the people's hearts swelled with the imagery of the priest tending to the smallest of creatures. As Moses concluded, the people exchanged glances filled with a newfound understanding of the offering rituals. They saw these rituals not just as rituals, but as expressions of their devotion, their commitment to the covenant they shared with the Lord. And so, as the sun set over the tabernacle and the day drew to a close, the Israelites carried with them a profound sense of purpose. They understood that through these offerings, they were not just bringing animals, but their hearts, their sincerity, and their deep desire to honor and please the Lord. Amidst the sacred surroundings of the tabernacle, Moses continued to deliver the divine instructions to the people, explaining the rituals and offerings that would deepen their connection with the Almighty. "When anyone brings a grain offering to the Lord," Moses began, his voice carrying the weight of reverence, "let it be of the finest flour, a symbol of your best offering. Pour olive oil upon it and sprinkle it with incense. The people listened intently, their hearts open to understanding the significance of each action. As the offering is brought to Aaron's sons, the priests, Moses explained, they shall take a handful of the flour, oil, and incense, and burn it as a memorial portion on the altar. This act serves as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Moses emphasized that the remainder of the grain offering belonged to Aaron and his sons, a most holy part of the food offerings presented to the Lord. Moses then went on to describe the various ways the grain offering could be prepared, baked in an oven, on a griddle, or cooked in a pan. The meticulous instructions left no room for doubt, and the people understood the care that was to be taken in each step. Every grain offering to the Lord must be made without yeast, Moses proclaimed, his words echoing with authority. No yeast or honey shall be burned in a food offering presented to the Lord. He continued, when you bring a grain offering of first fruits to the Lord, offer crushed heads of new grain roasted in the fire. Add oil and incense and present it as a pleasing offering. The people absorbed the details, their hearts resonating with the importance of offering their best to the Lord. Transitioning seamlessly, Moses shifted to the fellowship offerings, explaining the intricate rituals that accompanied them. If your offering is a fellowship offering from the herd, Moses stated, his eyes filled with solemnity, you are to present an animal without defect. Lay your hand upon its head and slaughter it at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The people envisioned the scene as Moses described the priests splashing the blood against the sides of the altar, an act that signified the sanctification of the offering. As Moses delved into the specifics of the offerings from the flock, whether a lamb or a goat, the people felt a deeper connection to the rituals. They grasped the profoundness of each action, the symbolism of laying hands on the head of the offering, and the act of burning the fat and internal organs as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Moses concluded with a profound reminder, this is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live. You must not eat any fat or any blood. And so, as the people listened to Moses' words within the sacred precincts of the tabernacle, they recognized the beauty and significance of these offerings. Each ritual, each gesture, was a testament to their commitment, a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a reflection of their devotion to the Lord. In the desert, the Israelites journeyed through the challenging terrain, yet the presence of God remained with them. As they continued, the laws of offerings and sacrifices were revealed to Moses, a means to seek forgiveness and restoration when they erred. The Lord spoke to Moses, detailing the procedures for unintentional sins and offenses. If an anointed priest committed a sin, he was to present a young bull without defect as a sin offering. The priest would lay his hand on the bull's head, slaughter it, and sprinkle its blood before the Lord. The fat and certain organs would be offered on the altar, while the rest of the bull would be burned outside the camp. For the unintentional sins of the entire community, a young bull would be presented as a sin offering. The elders would lay hands on the bull's head, and its blood would be used to make atonement. The fat would be burned on the altar, and the rest of the bull would be burned outside the camp. If a leader sinned unintentionally, he would offer a male goat without defect. Its blood would be used to make atonement, and the fat would be burned on the altar. Similarly, any member of the community who sinned unintentionally would bring a female goat without defect. The process of atonement would be carried out, with the fat burned as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. In cases where offering a goat was not feasible, 2 doves or pigeons could be brought, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. If even this was beyond their means, a grain offering of fine flour could be presented without oil or incense. A portion would be burned on the altar, and the priest would make atonement. Moving forward, the concept of guilt offerings emerged. If someone was unfaithful to the Lord unintentionally, they would offer a ram as a penalty. Restitution and an additional penalty were also prescribed. For those who unknowingly broke the Lord's commands, a ram would be offered as a guilt offering, and the priest would make atonement. These laws, intricate and detailed, provided a path to seek forgiveness and restoration. They underscored the importance of recognizing our shortcomings and seeking God's grace. As the Israelites continued on their journey, these rituals and offerings would guide them through their relationship with the divine. Amid the vast expanse of the desert, the Israelites embarked on a profound spiritual journey. The time had come to consecrate the priests, an intricate and sacred process that would initiate their divine service. Gathering Aaron and his sons, Moses prepared them for the solemn tasks ahead. The anointing oil, symbolizing divine selection, flowed upon Aaron's head, marking him as chosen by God. With meticulous care, he donned garments that represented honor and dignity, while the fragrance of the oil lingered in the air, signifying a connection with the divine. The ceremony unfolded with purpose and symbolism. Moses offered sacrifices to purify the altar and its implements, infusing them with holiness. Blood, the essence of life, was sprinkled upon the priests and the altar, sealing a sacred covenant between God and his chosen servants. The rising smoke of the sacrifices solidified this bond, setting the priests on their ordained path. Following the anointing, a week of dedication commenced. Aaron and his sons remained within the tent of meeting, guided by Moses through a meticulous process to spiritually prepare for their roles. The altar was anointed once more, this time to sanctify it and render it holy. Yet, amidst these sacred preparations, tragedy struck. Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's sons, offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, disregarding the sanctity of the moment. God's consuming fire engulfed them, serving as a stark reminder of the necessity for reverence in his presence. Grief-stricken, Aaron's heartache was met with silence. Moses provided guidance, reminding Aaron and his remaining sons of the sanctity inherent in their roles. Even in their sorrow, they were to refrain from mourning and instead focus on their sacred duty. The chapter concluded with dietary regulations for the priests. As intermediaries between God and the people, they were required to maintain a heightened level of purity. These laws underscored the significance of holiness in their service, reflecting the reverence the Lord demanded from those who stood before him. In these chapters, the consecration of the priests unfolded as a pivotal moment of devotion and sacred duty. Amidst the jubilation and sorrow, the significance of resolute obedience and profound reverence before the Lord was deeply impressed upon Aaron and his sons. This marked the commencement of their divine service, a journey defined by honor and humility as they embraced their roles as intermediaries between the people and their God. As their journey unfolded, the Israelites encountered a continuous stream of divine guidance that illuminated their path. The instructions revealed the essence of their faith and the responsibilities that came with it. In the heart of these directions stood the Day of Atonement, a pivotal event. On this day, the high priest entered the innermost sanctuary with offerings, symbolizing the separation between humanity and the divine. This ritual served as a bridge for reconciliation. Blood offerings were made, a solemn reminder of the gravity of sin and the need for divine forgiveness. The focus then shifted to dietary prohibitions, steering the Israelites away from practices that could pollute their bodies and spirits. These regulations, extending to matters of blood and sacrifice, forged a framework for holiness that transcended mere sustenance. Leviticus delved into matters of morality, outlining the treatment of one's neighbors and dealings in business. Fairness and justice were upheld as sacred principles, emphasizing the importance of empathy and compassion. The notion of loving one's neighbor was encapsulated in these guidelines, a testament to the interconnectedness of the community. The chapter then touched on sexual morality, delineating the boundaries that were to govern relationships. Prohibitions against adultery and incest arose, illuminating the sanctity of marriage and the foundation of family life. These rules formed the cornerstones of a society rooted in respect and moral integrity. Amidst these rules, a mandate for holiness resounded. The Israelites were called to be set apart, a people devoted to God's commandments. Their commitment was to mirror the divine holiness in their lives, offering a profound testimony to their faith. The laws outlined in Leviticus unfolded like a map, guiding the Israelites through the landscapes of their faith and societal structure. Addressing the sanctity of the priesthood, the text emphasized the importance of maintaining purity in their service. Priests were to refrain from contact with the dead, embodying the separation between life and death. Further instructions resonated, dictating whom the priests could marry. By adhering to these regulations, the priestly lineage remained unblemished, preserving the sacredness of their role. The concept of consecration underscored the notion of devoted dedication, setting the priests apart in their service to the Almighty. Expanding the realm of holiness, Leviticus portrayed the Sabbath as a day of rest, echoing the day of rest after creation. This day offered renewal, a chance to connect with the Almighty's rhythm. The rhythm extended to the Jubilee year, a time of restoration when land was returned and debts were forgiven. This cycle ensured that societal imbalances were rectified, reflecting a sense of justice. The passage culminated in the portrayal of festivals that punctuated the calendar. The Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Feast of Weeks carried deep spiritual significance. They marked both historical events and celebrated the harvest, weaving together the threads of the Israelites' identity and their bond with the divine. As the narrative advanced, the significance of the Day of Atonement emerged once more. This solemn day symbolized reconciliation, a chance for the community to restore its relationship. Through rituals and offerings, sins were atoned for, underlining the Israelites' commitment to repentance and spiritual renewal. Amid these laws and regulations, a reflection of governance materialized. Leviticus painted a portrait of a people intertwined with their faith, shaping their daily lives around principles of sanctity, justice, and devotion. The chapters etched a blueprint for a community defined by its reverence and its dedication to living out its faith in every facet of life. A captivating story of guidance and devotion continued to unfold. It was a tale that echoed through generations, one of a covenant between the divine and humanity. This narrative spoke of blessings that flourished when people embraced their connection with the divine forces. These blessings manifested as abundance, harmony, and the promise of thriving as a chosen community. Yet, the story was not without its shadows. It warned of the repercussions that awaited those who strayed from the path of virtue. It was a portrayal of trials and tribulations that would arise as a result of turning away from the sacred bond. This contrast painted a vivid picture of the outcomes that faithfulness or deviance could bring. As the tale meandered forward, another theme emerged, the concept of dedications and vows. This act of consecration was portrayed as a deeply reverent commitment, a pledge that symbolized the profound connection between mortal souls and the divine realm. The worth assigned to these offerings varied, signifying the diverse ways individuals chose to express their loyalty. Within this intricate narrative dance, the interplay between the divine and humanity took center stage. The story depicted a journey filled with obedience and consequence, loyalty and reward. Each chapter illuminated the lives of those who were not mere recipients of celestial guidance, but active participants in a sacred covenant that bound them to the very essence of existence. As the stars twinkle above and the night embraces you, we gently conclude our journey through divine Bible stories. We hope these timeless tales have woven threads of serenity and reflection into the fabric of your dreams. If you found comfort and inspiration in our nightly stories, we invite you to continue this journey with us. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay connected and receive notifications about our upcoming stories. Remember, the wisdom of these stories is always within reach, waiting to guide you on your journey. Until we meet again in the realm of dreams, may peace and tranquility accompany you through the night. Thank you for choosing Divine Bible Stories. Sleep well, dream deep, and awaken with a heart filled with hope.